guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Akin. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to complete PMP application on PMI website correctly, how to write it, what to write, and how to put them in, and how to compile all the information for your application. Obviously, I want you to know that, when you're completing your PMP application, there was some information, that needed to be provided that's also crucial to your application. So if your application is unclear or not straightforward, you're going to receive an email from PMI for clarification, and this could affect, or increase the timeline of your application. Therefore, in this guide, I want to provide you that how to write a clear project description as part of your PMP application process. When writing your project description, it is important to give a high level description that summarizes your experiences, which includes project objectives, the outcome of the project, your role and responsibility as a project manager, and the deliverables. You need to highlight this as high level description as possible, and you have to make them, keep them simple. So therefore, I encourage you to stay tuned and watch this video to the end. And if this is your first time, in my channel, I want you to please subscribe to my YouTube channel and please click the like button on the video. To complete your PMP application, you have to go to pmi.org to create and to register an account if you haven't registered one for yourself before. If you haven't registered for one, so you have to register by clicking the register button here. Obviously, you have to put your name there, your last name, your primary email address, your region. In my case, I'm located in Ireland. If you're in the US or wherever, you select the appropriate location. So, you want to have your company name here. You want to put it, what's best, match description of your job title, project management in this case, project manager, at year of birth, and so on. So these are very basic, information to create an account. Obviously, you put your, desired password there and create an account. That's gonna send, an email, into your mailbox, and you have to, go into that link and come back to, share my website. Once you come back and now this time around, you're gonna select the login. Sorry, something's wrong there. So this time around, when you come back to the website, you're gonna select login and log in with the credential you've just created. The login, you're gonna go under your name in there and select the dashboard. Navigate to the certification. After the certification, you're gonna see a place to where you're gonna select PMP, project PMP application. So for me, this is just it's a domain application. It says in process. So basically, once you select the PMP application, this says continue your application because I've already started this application. In your case, it's gonna be start your application, and you just select that. So it's gonna take you to the application page. So let's give it a second there. So basically, the first thing you're gonna see on your application page, it's now, sorry, I have to take out to the first thing you're gonna see here, it's gonna be the academic, education. In this case, if you've had the 4 years formal education degree, so this is what it's asking for here. So let's say you have masters and you've got your bachelor degree and your masters. I would recommend you use the bachelor's degree because that's going to qualify you for the 4 years straight away without necessarily having to had to academic education. It's going to make your application straightforward. In my case, or in this case, you select, bachelor degree. Say you've done it in 2015 to 2020 or whatever year, you put it there. The country where that's this country, it's not the country you are currently living, it's the country where the degree was, achieved. Let's say you're from Ireland, now you're living in US or in Australia. So your education, your bachelor degree was obtained in Ireland, then you put Ireland here. So put it here, and the name of your university name, you put it there. The field of study, accounting, whatever, business administration, you put it there, and you save it there. As you can see, because the system accepts this duration, this 4 years period, and that's why this looks green here. That's fine there. And then if you combine it two applications, you have to add another one, and that's gonna sum it up here for you. So, and the next thing is gonna be it's gonna be the professional education. This is the 35 PD contact hours that's concerning the project management training. So in this case, you're gonna put the course title here. Let's say you've done some, project management course, from some training providers or from Udemy or whatever. You would have obtained some certificate of completion. So you see the title there, and you put it there. The name of the training provider. In this case, I have put Project Management Institute. Whatever the name is, you put it in there. And the course date, right? Obviously, it's you only need to have the month and the year. It's not asking for that date specific, just month, year. I've put, January 2022 to February 2022 here. So if that single training fulfills the 35 contract hours PDU according to PMI, then you're gonna have 35 hours here, right? But let's say this training you've completed your 35 hours, the total 35 hours from two, training providers. Let's say this one is just 20 hours, for example, you have 20 hours here. Once that is saved, you're gonna see the update and you cannot see the updates in the, let's remove this, that's just some dummy random things. Let's say we have 20 hours here, you're gonna see the updates here in the top right, in the right side of your screen. It says you've got a total of 20 hours out of 35. So in this case, you still have 15 hours outstanding from that training. This is not acceptable by PMI at this stage. So you have to add your, second, training provider. Let's say you have two of them. You can call it whatever title it is. Just adding two, for example, and training provider in this case could be ABCD trainer. So, and you can have the month here. Let's say March 2022 up until April 2022, and say that is 15 hours, and you save it. Did you see now that's now turned to green? Because you now have a total of 35 hours, 20 hours by one trainer, and another 15 hours by another trainer. So that gives you 35 hours in total. And if all this total, if the total hours you've got, from one training provider is 35, that means in this case you only need to add one there. So and you're gonna have that 35 hours now. It doesn't matter how much hours you have. If you have 60 hours, whatever hours, the PMI only requires for 30, and it's only requested for 35 hours, and that's what you see here. You can see in this case, if you total these two, you have 40 hours there, but at least you've qualify for the 35 hours. So in this case, we can remove this, and if you add it there, it's not really adding any additional, credibility to application. So it's just that one, and you go to the next, which is the experience. Experience. This is the most important, part of your application. So, and then as you can see here, I'm gonna make all this blank. I'm gonna blank them. So basically, you can see this experience here is gonna, is the crucial part of your application. And then to complete this field, I recommend, you have some kind of Word, document file where you have to put all this information there. The reason for this is because you're gonna, ensure that your spellings are well spelled, no errors, your grammars, they're all checked. Then you can now copy and paste, the information into this table. So basically you can see here, especially when it comes to this project description, the PMI wants you to provide high level description that, summarizes your experience and includes the project objectives. The project objective, the outcome of the project, that's two, your role on the project, three, your responsibility, for, and the deliverable, that's the outcome of the project, obviously. So and then and so and the PMI also recommend that your response should be between 200 and 500, nothing more than that. It could be between this and this, and at least, description must be at least 100 words. But that's almost nothing. So you're safe, to operate within this, 200 and 500 word count. What I've done is that I've had, some, this Word document file here. You can see the objective, the project objective, the outcome, your responsibilities, and the deliverables. Right. So in this case, I would say the objective, for example, I said to integrate, the enterprise resource planning system, following the acquisition of a new company. This could also be, let's say, some installation of some servers, or you're upgrading the existing server in your company for optimization. Whatever the case may be in your project, this is just, the objective, that's just a guide to write yours. And the outcome was obviously to integrate, the two isolated system into a single system. And your responsibilities as a project manager, obviously, I have these examples, just to guide you to how to write yours. I have put them here in bullet points, just as a guide. You could make yours, more like, you could bring them together, so as paragraphs, or whichever way, you would like to write it. There is no specific, way. Most importantly is that you're able to, to summarize, to put all together your responsibility. As I said, I developed, the project charter and the stakeholder registered, which was managed, throughout the life cycle of the project. Responsible, for planning phases and the life cycle of the project. You manage, you plan and manage all the communications and the resource strategies, the execution and the monitoring the process of the project as well, of the stakeholders, we're measuring, obviously as a project manager, was measuring the project performance, to ensure that they, or to understand that if the project, is performing as planned or not. This can be achieved, through, utilizing of various KPIs, in the likes of, burn charts. Then we have burn up charts, we have burn down charts, we've got Gantt charts, and so many other metrics. Could be Excel, worksheets in your case, whatever methodology or mechanisms you're using to measure your KPIs, you can put them there. So I also have information here suggested, corrective, and preventive actions where necessary. That means something has happened, there's been some issues or some risks that's been addressed. Obviously, you want to ensure that they're not happening. You have some mechanisms in place to prevent them from happening again. So facilitate, project team to remove, any impediment, anything that could serve, as a blocker for your project. That's one of the key responsibility. of a project manager, especially when it comes to agile, project, management. So you have to serve as a servant leader. So there's gonna be different kind of issues, in the project. This employer is its employee is fighting with another one. They disagree on something. As a project manager, you're there, to bring the team together, to ensure that they work together as a team. So whatever could affect the performance and the deliverables. You're conducting the close out meetings, performing lesson learned activities, and so on. Basically, all this you can write them in your own way. Most importantly, you ensure they fit within this 200 and 500 word count. As can be seen in there, you can see that this is each of the sections, they then and the processes, domains. I try to give them titles, and it also gives high level, you know of summary of each of the tasks. Now you see the deliverables. Obviously I said the outcome of the project is the installation of the new ERP system. There was to integrate the process between two legacy companies. They used to work on isolation. In your case, it could be they now have a new server. The old one has been, upgraded now. So now go back to the application. So we've got the project title. So whatever title you want to give it, installation or whatever, of ERP, or let's say, or could be kind of let's say implementation of new ERP. Let's say SAP system. Your organization. Let's say in my case, let's say architect solutions. So your job title, obviously in this case you expected to be a project manager. I'm not sure, the job title could be vary, from one company to another, but for the purpose of PMP, I would perhaps suggest project manager. The functional reporting area, you could, I don't know, it also depends on the company. Maybe you report into the head of finance, the HR, the marketing operations, and if your company has your own, PMO office, that's project management office, department. In this case, I select PMO if that's appropriate or applicable in your case. And the organization, primary focus, could be healthcare, government, information tech, and so on. I just choose the manufacturing here. And approach, what approach did you utilize, for your project? You've got the traditional, approach, which is the waterfall. You've got agile approach, and it could be the combination, of them. In this case, you'll be hybrid, depends whichever one is appropriate. Whichever one you have used here is not adding any credibility, to your PMP application. I believe this is could be just for some kind of survey or something, to determine, which of them is mostly used, by PMP applicants. In this case, I'm just choosing, let's choose a traditional waterfall. And then the size of your organization or the team, perhaps in this case, your size of the team, I'm choosing, 10 to 14 years, could be 1 to 4, 5 to 9, 15 to 19, or whatever, just choosing there. And that's the minimum there. That's the budget for your project. That's the minimum budget there. So up to 1 million. And the project date, right? Let's say, you've managed a project, from January 2029 to January 2022, or that's, in that case, that won't be, you know, qualifying you for the 36 months, experience, obviously. Okay, yeah, sorry, this 19, that will qualify you for that. But let's say you've worked for one company, just for a year, January 2020, 19, let's say to January 2020. That's just 12 months. That means you will have to add another company, until you have the total number of 36 months. Or let's say This is a very long-term project. You're building, let's say you're building a skyscraper, or you're doing some process improvement, continuous process improvement. It's ongoing. You still haven't finished it. Even up until now, you could just select in progress. But by looking at this, it started since back in January 19, and we're in September 2022 now. Obviously, this is over 36 months. You're going to qualify straight away. So, but let's just say, okay, let's say January 2022. Let's say this, we're gonna, and then we go back for the description. So you've got all the information here, this example here, you just copy after checking on your typos and your grammars and so on. And you go back into here and you put this in here. So, and then what happened, you can see we've got, we've got a total number of 116 word count here. You can increase yours, depending on your situation. So let's save this experience to see what's happening there. Experience, they've got 19 to 22. Continue with the exam details, and you just go in there, to add your exam location, your preferred location in there, phone number, and so on. You submit your application. So once you submit your application, what's gonna happen according to to PMI? Obviously, they're gonna verify. I mean not just to view your application. So you shouldn't dare for to hear back from PMI between 3 to 5 working days. If your application is successful, you will be notified and you will be allowed, to proceed to register for your PMP exam. If PMI requires any clarification on your application, or if your application has been picked, for audit, obviously they're gonna send email to you, and then you have to provide all your credentials and your certifications with regards to training. So again, you need to make sure you have all of them ready before submitting your application. So that will make your application, goes very straight, and you'll be able to get. They can be very fast. In another 1 or 2 days, you should receive, the approval. So I think that's all I have for you in this video. So I thank you for taking time to watch this video. And if you have any comments, you can please leave your comment there for me. I'm gonna get back to you. And if this videos has helped you, I wanted to please click the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.